Test 8, Spanish 2. Part 1 is going to be form the past participle of the following verbs. This is going to be a mix of regular and irregular past participles. So let's see. The past participles are on page 214 and 219 in your textbook, so please go back and look at those. The ones on page 214, all they really are, they're basically regular, but there's an accent over the E, or the I, the ito. And then the ones on page 219 are actually really irregular. So you do have to pay attention to that. The ones on page 214 are like leer, caer, creer, oír, and reír. Those have to have an accent over the I to be correct. And then for 219, those are like totally different spelling changes. Okay? So for part 1, you're just going to have a verb like part 1, this is 1 through 10. Tener. Tener is a regular past participle. So for regular, if your verb ends in IR or ER, then its new ending is IDO. If it ends in an AR, then your new ending is ADO. Okay. So this is not one of the irregulars, which means it's regular. It's an ER verb, which means we drop this ending and we add ido. So this becomes tenido. Whoops. Tenido. All right. Something like morir is irregular. It's on page 219, and this becomes muerto. Okay. So that's what 1 through 10 are like. I give you a verb, and then you have to make it the past participle. Section 2 is 11 to 15. And this is the present perfect. The present perfect. Okay, so with the present perfect, this is a tense. It's a verb tense. It says form the present perfect tense for each verb based on the subject. So for the present perfect, you take the conjugation of haber in the present tense and your past participle. Okay, haber in the past participle. Haber is as, hemos, and an. That's an A, by the way. Okay. And then your past participle is what we just talked about. So for this section, present perfect, what you have to do, you're going to get a subject and you're going to get a verb. Okay. And so you have to conjugate haber based on the subject, and then you have to turn the verb into the past participle. So this is going to look like puesto, because poner is irregular. Okay, so present perfect is haber in the present tense, one of these, with the past participle. Conjugate haber based on the subject, and then the verb you turn into the past participle. All right, section 3 is going to be the pluperfect tense, all right, which is very similar to the present perfect. So 16 to 20, I think. This is section 3. It's the pluperfect. The pluscuamperfecto is what it's called in your book. Okay, this is very similar to the present perfect. It says form the pluperfect tense for each verb based on the subject. So you're going to have something like usted and comer. Okay, usted and comer. For the pluperfect, pluperfect means the conjugation of haber in the imperfect plus the past participle. Okay? Haber plus the past participle. In this case, haber is going to be había, habías, había, habíamos, and había. Okay? So, it's very similar. The only really big difference is, of course, what they mean, but then how you conjugate haber. In the present perfect, you conjugate it in the present tense. In the pluperfect, you conjugate it in the imperfect. So, usted comer is going to be había comido. Comer is a regular verb, which means that we drop this ending and we add ido since it's an ER verb. Okay. Now, the present perfect, just to recap, present perfect means I have done something. I think my sentence was él ha puesto. So that means he has put. He has put. That is the present tense. Something like this is like you had eaten. Okay? So the present perfect is have or has, and the pluperfect is had. Okay? So present tense and past tense, basically. Okay? So 21 through 25. So sections 4 and 5. 21 through 25. And 5 is 26 through 30. This one is Spanish to English. This one is English to Spanish. Okay, so this is vocabulary, just like always. You've got, for these 5, you're going to go from Spanish to English. These 5, you're going to go from English to Spanish. Once again, make sure that if it's a verb, if it ends in AR, ER, IR, then you have to include the infinitive form, which is to verb. You have to have that to in there. Otherwise, I'm going to count points off. Also, if it has el, la, los, las, un, una, unos, unas, you have to include that. The directions say translate the following words or phrases. So the el, la, los, las, un, unos, una, unas is included in the phrase. The definite articles mean the indefinite articles mean a or and, depending on the noun that follows. Okay, so you have to be translating the whole phrase, not just the noun. Okay, section 6 is 31 to 38. That's translations. So another short test, it's only 38 questions. This is going to be dealing with the indefinite, negative, time expression stuff. Indefinite, negative, time expressions. On pages 220 and 227. Okay, that's like jamás, todavía, ya no, aún, ni siquiera, tampoco. Okay, so you need to know what those words mean. It's also going to be the present perfect and the pluperfect. Okay, so indefinite, negative, time expressions, and present perfect and pluperfect tenses. So let's do an example. if I had something like they still study Spanish. Okay, you would say ellos aún estudian español. Actually, el español. Because aún with an accent mark means still. Okay, there's another word that means still, which is todavía. Todavía. So either one of those words would be perfectly fine. You could say ellos aún estudian el español, or you could say ellos todavía estudian el español, and that would be perfectly fine. Okay, so you need to know those words. Then, like the time expression kind of words. Then you may have something like we had cooked the lunch. And I have broken the chair. Okay, so the difference in these is one is the pluperfect and one is the present perfect. You can tell that the present perfect is this one because it is have, which is the present tense. This one is the pluperfect or the pluscuamperfecto because it's in the past tense and it is had cooked, okay? So for the pluperfect, oh my gosh, my eye. Allergies sneaking up on me. All right, we had cooked. So we're going to conjugate this with the pluperfect tense. So we can say nosotros habíamos. And then the verb for cook is cocinar. This is a regular verb. It is not an irregular verb. So we take off the AR, add ado, and it becomes cocinado. And then the lunch is el almuerzo. All right, just like that. Then we have I have broken the chair. This is in the present perfect. So we say yo he roto. Roto. Broken. Romper is the verb for to break. Romper is one of the verbs for to break. One of the verbs for to break. It is an irregular. Okay, it's on your list on page 219. It's irregular. The irregular romper is roto for the past participle. So we say yo he roto la silla. Okay, and that's it. For your convenience, I have marked the sentences. So like had cooked the lunch. If you had a sentence like this, I put a star by it. And if it's I have broken the chair, I put a little circle by it. And then down at the bottom, I tell you that the star is the pluperfect and the circle is the present perfect. I just kind of thought maybe that would help you guys out a little bit, keeping that straight, because I understand that that's kind of confusing, trying to keep all that straight. So I did kind of label them for you, but that doesn't mean that I gave you the answers. So you do need to know how to form each one, okay? So then let's look at, real quick, some key phrases you need to know. You need to know Spanish. You need to know teacher. You need to know cook. To cook. You need to know to study. You need to know to talk. You need to know to attend. you need to know book. You need to know school. You need to know homework. And you need to know bed. Okay. One thing I do want to point out is that because we're doing the pluperfect and the present perfect in the translations, you need to know the definitions. Oh my gosh. You need to know the definitions of these verbs right here on page 219, and then what was the other one? Like 214. You need to know the definitions of those so that you know how to use them when it says something like, I have eaten. You need to know what verb to eat is so that you can turn it into eaten. Okay? Something like to said. If you have we had said, you have to know that said comes from the verb to say, which is decir. So then you need to know how to turn decir into said, which is the past participle. Okay, so most of these, let's see. To open, to eat, to write, and to make. Okay, so I think that's all. All right. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. So you need to know the words on page 220, I believe. What was it? 220 and 227. So the time expressions, I'm not going to give you those. So you just need to know what they are in order to use them in your sentences. And then those were kind of your key phrases that you need to know for the translations. And then you have 3 extra credit problems. Let's see. What pages is that on? That's going to be on page 216, which is Segovia. And I actually think that may be it. I think it's just that one. So I think it's just this. If there's other, because I don't think there was anything else in your, that was really the only thing that was cultural. Let me double check. Yeah, that's it. So 216. Yeah, okay, so that's it. Just page 216, the passage on Segovia. That's it. So let me know if you have any questions, and good luck.